The entire scene was captured by a security camera, and what appears in the recording was something no one expected. A moment so chilling that anyone who sees it instantly feels fear run through their body. So what exactly did this camera really capture? In a completely empty space, a white shadow begins gliding from one side to the other. Its shape is blurry, almost unreal, but its movement is unmistakable. The apparition seems to float through the air with no logical source at all. So how do you explain a shadow that has nothing and no one to cast it? On this quiet street, nothing suggested that anything unusual was about to happen. Everything seemed normal until a security camera captured a scene capable of chilling even the bravest people. A silhouette can be seen moving down the street. The body looks human, but its movements are anything but natural. It moves like an animal, fast, without hesitation, as if nothing could stop it. Watching the scene gives off a strange, almost instinctive feeling. Something is wrong. Is it a human or something else? The mystery remains. Sometimes it only takes a few seconds for a quiet bedroom to turn into a truly disturbing scene. That is exactly what happens in this clip. A man is sleeping on his bed when a white shadow appears at the foot of the mattress. It slowly grows, then reaches his feet. The man wakes up instantly in panic and runs to the couch beside him. With a presence getting that close, his reaction is easy to understand. Sometimes all it takes is a single moment for the tension to rise all at once. In this video, a man seems to be experiencing something particularly disturbing, and everything is recorded. At first, we see a door slamming and opening by itself, which is already enough to create a real sense of unease, wouldn't you agree? But if you look toward the end, a much more disturbing detail appears. A face can be seen just above the door at the moment it opens. What makes the scene even stranger is that the video cuts off abruptly, and there are no further posts connected to the event. No follow-up, no explanation, just that moment, and the man's panicked moans, which sound completely genuine. Was this a real poltergeist attack, or simply a video made to go viral? That's for you to decide. We often come across strange videos online, but this one really deserves a closer look. Seeing the scene, many people would immediately think of a raging poltergeist ready to knock everything over in its path. But before jumping to conclusions, let's take a moment to understand what may actually have happened. With a little research, you will find that questions like, "Can an office chair explode?" are surprisingly common on Google. Yes, a chair can explode even if it remains rare. The cause is usually the pneumatic cylinder that adjusts the height using compressed gas. Several factors can cause this kind of accident: a manufacturing defect, too much weight, or strong exposure to heat. So, is that what launched the chair in this video? It's very possible. And when a simple chair can turn into a projectile, it reminds us that sometimes the most frightening things do not need the paranormal to be terrifying. A TikTok video got a lot of attention after showing a strange shape crossing the lawn of a house in the middle of the night. According to the creator, the scene was filmed at 3 a.m. by their Ring camera. If you watch carefully, something even stranger appears near the end of the clip. The same silhouette, or maybe another one, reappears on the left side of the screen. The clip immediately attracted hundreds of comments, ranging from the funniest theories to the most alarming ones. Some compared the creature to Dobby, the house elf from Harry Potter. Others talked about a shapeshifter or even a goblin. A more rational explanation suggests that it could simply be a cat with its raised tail creating a strange outline in the low-resolution image. Animal, hoax, or paranormal phenomenon? This video sparked a real debate on TikTok. And what do you think? On a quiet Friday night, while she was simply folding laundry, this woman experienced one of the most terrifying moments of her life. Everything was normal, she was just hanging up clothes to dry. Then, the moment she turned her back for a second, everything changed. Here is the chilling footage captured by her security camera. Home alone while her husband was working late, she says that nothing paranormal had ever happened before. Their house had never shown the slightest sign of strange activity until that evening. And when you see the violent way the drying rack collapses to the floor, it is hard not to think that something else was involved. Clothes do not lift on their own, and a drying rack does not just fall for no reason, especially with no wind. Did you notice the cat running away just before everything goes wrong? Of course, some people will talk about invisible strings or a simple accident, but nothing like that appears in the footage. Were we watching a poltergeist in the middle of a breakdown? The mystery remains. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon. A Reddit user was simply filming her two dogs playing in the living room while her brother was in his room playing video games. Nothing seemed unusual until a sharp sound was heard. Strange knocking noises, then the sound of a doorknob turning. Curious and already a little tense, she turns her camera toward the source of the sound and captures this. According to her, this is the first time in years that something like this has happened, and that someone has managed to film it. Yet the house is no stranger to strange events. Although it belongs to their parents and is not especially old, the family had already heard knocks and small unexplained noises, always unsettling enough to leave them uncomfortable. And that's not all. Ever since childhood, she has hated the storage room in the basement. She says that every time she went down there, she felt a presence, as if someone were watching her from the darkness. A pressure in the chest, an unease she could never explain. She also remembers a chilling moment. The clear silhouette of a motionless man standing in the doorway of her bedroom while a family member was reading a story to her little sister. There were no guests in the house, and the vision lasted only a second. Her brother also claims to have seen a similar silhouette, but this time in the basement. Then there was that night when their little sister screamed so loudly that she woke the whole house, saying she had seen someone at the bottom of the stairs. Today, they finally have video proof. But will it be enough to convince their parents to have the house cleansed? That we may never know. What you are about to see happened in a park in South Korea. At first glance, everything seems ordinary. A man is walking calmly across a plaza when he notices a woman sitting alone on a bench, completely motionless, as if frozen and lost in something invisible. Thinking she might need help, he decides to approach, but within seconds, he realizes he has made a terrible mistake. What happens when she turns her head? Her expression is absolutely chilling. Bulging eyes, a twisted face, a stare as if every trace of humanity had vanished. Then, without warning, she stands up and begins chasing him before the recording cuts out abruptly. Some internet users believe she may have been possessed by a dark entity, perhaps connected to an old ritual or a demonic influence. Her strange posture and vacant gaze are, for many, signs of possession. Others say it could have been a violent psychotic episode in which the person completely lost touch with reality. But one detail troubles everyone. Just before standing up, the woman seems to sense the man's presence, as if something inside her reacted to his energy. Whatever the cause, her reaction does not look like a simple emotional breakdown. It feels as if something much deeper, much darker, manifested itself. Was it a supernatural force? Or an extreme mental collapse? You decide. On the 14th of October, 2025, around 3 a.m., a woman named Lou could not sleep. She went into the living room and began reading her favorite mythology book. She can be seen focused on her reading while her dog Peanut stays close to her, almost as if he is watching over the room. Everything seems calm until her indoor camera captures this. Deep in her reading, Lou suddenly jumps and turns her head. Convinced that she heard something right next to her, her dog immediately walks toward the exact same spot, sniffing the air as if he senses an invisible presence in the room. Lou explains that at that moment, she clearly heard and felt breathing against her right ear, which made her leave the room immediately. And that is when everything changes. As she is leaving, a bottle of alcohol sitting on the table suddenly falls by itself, even though neither of them touched it. She later posts a second video to explain everything.
Our house is actually covered with 3 CCTV cameras for our own protection. And a lot of you are asking if I was reading a Bible that time. No, I was actually reading this. I'm a fan of anything that is ancient. A lot of you are also asking what was the whisper all about. I'm sorry, pero namali ako doon. It was not a whisper, but it was just a breathing. And something that was breathing, that is where alcohol bottle was placed. Something is protecting there.
Lou shows that this is not the first time strange things have happened. Several motion alerts had already been triggered in the middle of the night in different rooms, even though no one was awake. Even so, Lou says she is not truly scared. She has ways to protect herself, and Peanut is always watching. But one question remains. What breathed in her ear that night and knocked over the bottle? Until more updates appear, the mystery remains unresolved. Shai and her daughter Mele were enjoying a peaceful evening in Indonesia when they were drawn outside by the sound of cats moving around in their yard. They had no idea that this seemingly harmless scene would quickly turn into something much more unsettling.
Ada apa, Dek? Ada apa? Jadi ada lihat ada apa emang?
Masuk. Apa?
Kenapa, Dek?
While their attention is focused on the animals, the background reveals something troubling. There, perched on the roof, a mysterious silhouette stands out in the darkness. While Shai seems unaware of the apparition, her daughter appears to feel a certain unease. It was only after posting the video on TikTok that the mother realized what had been nearby. The online community is divided. Is it just a play of shadows, a simple coincidence, Or something far stranger? What do you think? Security is essential in hospitals, and cameras are often the silent eyes that constantly watch over every corner of the building. However, even these technological observers can sometimes witness unexplained events, as shown in this video from the YouTube channel Supernatural Confessions. While everything seemed calm and ordinary, a security guard noticed an unusual movement on one of the screens, a glowing entity, similar to an orb, moving through a hallway. Its brightness was so intense that it plunged the walls around it into darkness, creating a striking contrast. A short time later, the same glowing sphere passed back in the opposite direction, as if it were moving back and forth through the hallway. Faced with such a sight, the guard was left speechless. Why was this apparition not visible on any of the other cameras? And how is it possible that no staff member, despite so many people moving through the hospital at night, noticed anything at all? Filming your child playing usually seems like a harmless moment. That's exactly what Stephanie, a young mother, thought when she captured a simple everyday scene. Her little boy was climbing on the couch and crawling around the living room while she recorded him. Later, she posted the video online to share it with friends and family. But very quickly, some viewers noticed a disturbing detail, something that could easily have gone unnoticed.
Prueba de cocodrilo. Oh, sí, lo siento. Pero ¿cómo soltará Snickers? Ya sé. Ven aquí, Coco. Sube sobre mis hombros. Vamos, Snickers.
In the footage, a strange little face briefly appears near the playpen, right at ground level. Stephanie says she had never noticed it until people pointed it out in the comments. She insists that no other children were present that day and that she cannot explain the figure. What makes the scene even more unsettling is the reaction of her son. He enters the room, suddenly runs out, then returns a few moments later as if something inside frightened him. So what exactly slipped into this video? A simple optical illusion, or something much more disturbing? You decide. This video was filmed during a public event in a park. The atmosphere is cheerful, the crowd is dense, and everything seems perfectly normal until a detail in the background catches viewers' attention. As the camera scans the crowd, a white blurry silhouette suddenly appears behind the people. Completely still, it almost looks like it is observing the scene. No one seems to notice it at the moment, but in the footage it is clearly there. Creepy, isn't it? Urban exploration has become increasingly popular in recent years. Abandoned buildings and the stories surrounding them attract curious thrill seekers. In this spirit, Zodiac shared a video that might make people think twice before entering such places. According to rumors, an old abandoned building was known for mysterious sightings, especially of a woman whose story remains unknown. Two friends decided to visit the location to see for themselves. But sometimes, some things prefer to remain hidden. As the camera moves through the dark ruins, a female silhouette briefly appears on screen. The cameraman, focused on exploring, doesn't notice it immediately. Was this the spirit of the mysterious woman people talk about, or simply a staged prank meant to scare viewers? When it comes to paranormal sightings, the line between reality and imagination is often blurred. Among the most anxiety-inducing places, most people would immediately answer: hospitals. The atmosphere is cold, most people there are sick, and some even lose their lives within those walls. The video we are about to see was published on TikTok. It shows a woman walking through the corridors of a hospital and exploring a section that is closed to the public, and for good reason. That part of the hospital is said to be haunted. Although she was supposed to be alone in those hallways, she quickly realizes that something is following her.
I heard something up there. I heard a voice. I'm not kidding you. I heard a voice. I heard a voice. I heard a fucking voice. Look at that chair. I heard something up there. I heard a voice.
At the beginning of the video, a voice can be heard echoing down the corridor. Then, moments later, a strange silhouette appears at the far end. Who could this mysterious presence be? An impatient entity? A lost spirit wandering the hospital, unable to find its room? There is no further information about this video, and the person has not posted anything new since. So I'm calling on your investigative instincts. Tell me in the comments what you think is happening. Many people enjoy walking alone at night. Some do it to relieve the stress of a long day, others simply to get some fresh air. Everyone finds their own reason. Unfortunately, not everyone gets to fully enjoy their nighttime walk. That was the case for this TikTok user. Originally, she was simply out for her usual night walk. But as she passed by her neighbor's house, something caught her attention, something very strange.
Going for a walk and I look up and I see my neighbors. The hell?
It was the flickering light that first drew her attention. She then noticed all of her neighbors gathered around their table. What she did not expect was for all of them to suddenly turn toward her at the exact same time. What do you think happened? How did they all know she was looking at them? Were they possessed? One thing is certain, with the light flickering above them, something supernatural seemed to be taking place. If you have an idea of what might have happened, share it just below. If you feel brave enough, you can click on this next video to get even more scared, unless you're too afraid.